Hey everybody, welcome back to our awesome YouTube channel where we are showing you the best way to improve clearance and get the best suspension ride possible on any sort of van that you may have, whether it may be a Chevy or a Ford, or maybe you even have a Ford RV built on a Ford chassis. We're here to help you out and kind of guide you along the way so that if you run into these problems, if you get your new RV home and you realize, holy crap, this thing will not even go in my driveway because it sits so low. So what I want to do is address a couple of those things right here on this Freedom Elite RV behind me. This thing is really cool. It's very small in the big scheme of things and when it comes to RVs, yet it has so many really cool features inside the RV which could definitely sleep a family of 6. And once we're done with the lift on this, we'll be sure to give you guys a tour on the inside. But right now what we wanted to do is really point out a lot of the things on the outside that we see are big problems. So obviously is ground clearance. These things don't have a ton of ground clearance. But the first thing you're gonna notice as we come and pop our head, we don't even have to pop our head under it because it's sticking right out the side of it. And we have your generator exhaust that's just kind of, I guess it's already broken. We might have to fix that. So anyways, I guess even if it was up, dang, this thing is brand new too. All right, so at its lowest point, we're at about 7.5, and we could be up to about 10 inches if that was secured properly, and we'll have to look into that because it's definitely broke up in there, which is a shame. So the other big thing on this as far as clearance is, let's run to the back of this thing and check that out. So you can see that there's not a ton of room in here, which you don't really need because if you're not trying to get a bigger tire on there, no problem. For those of you that want to run a bigger tire on there, that is definitely going to be an issue because this wheel well is so small. That's going to be one huge benefit in going with one of our lift kits. When we do either blocks or springs in the rear, it's going to give you a lot more additional clearance in this wheel well to run that bigger tire. Now, one of the biggest problems that I noticed on this RV when walking around it and checking it out beforehand is they taper this really nice in the back to give you that additional clearance. So if you're going up an incline, if you're going into a driveway, well, they gave you the clearance but then really took it away, and now we have this big, you have your sewer dump for your gray and your black water just floating down here. Dang, and that thing is just floating too. All right, so definitely some things. So right there, we're coming in at about 10 3/4 of an inch to the bottom of this. So yeah, that's a pretty decent clearance, you might say, but depending on where you like to go camping, that could also be a problem. So just kind of want to show you some of the, same basic things on these RVs that, we see as being an issue depending on where you want to camp. Same thing back here in the back. We're going to have our hitch. The hitch is going to give you some protection over the back portion of it, and then you also can see as we look under here, you have the manual leveling jacks that you can just use like an impact in order to lower and level this thing out. So this doesn't have the hydraulic jacks that would normally hang a lot lower. Austin's shaking his head. Shadows came out, just ruined it. I was looking so good in that picture, and now. All right, so back here, let's check this out. So we're coming in at about 11.5 inches right there on the clearance, which is pretty good. I would say that, well, look, he hasn't scraped this thing at all, so that's a benefit, but this thing's brand new, so he probably just hasn't had it out to use it in order to do that. So these are some of the things that we see on these RVs that we're gonna definitely improve upon with a lift kit, give it that additional ground clearance. Not to mention, let's poke our heads under there and just look at how bad these springs are if we can. All right, so we couldn't really get a good shot of the springs on the outside. So what we're gonna do is go ahead, enough jibber jabbering, let's pull this thing in the shop. Let's start putting the lift on it. We're gonna show you what it takes to put the lift on and do a side-by-side comparison, a lot of the parts that come on this from the factory and then the parts that we're replacing with Weldtech Designs parts. So I'll see you guys in the shop. So the first thing we do once we pull it in, we're gonna go ahead and take a measurement and we're gonna write that measurement right here on the front. That way we can get an accurate height after we're done to see what side goes where, because a lot of times, depending on what these have, if you have a full side slide out like this one does, it may sit a little bit lower on one side. And if you do have something like that, we can always add one more leaf spring to that side to make it sit even. So there's a lot of things that we can do. So there we go. Now it's time to lift this thing up, take the tires off, and put a lift kit on it. Alright guys, so we showed you that awesome RV outside and what we talked a little bit about what we're going to do to it. But what I really wanted to do was come inside. We laid out all the old parts that are typically on these RVs along with all the new parts that you're going to be getting. So we kind of wanted to go over all of these parts right now and show you exactly what you're going to get as far as parts wise when you lift your RV. So one of the first things we want to talk about is our Fox shocks that we're putting on all of these. So these are the factory shocks that are going to come with it. And then these are the Fox shocks that are going to come with your kit. These are all gas pressured shocks. So they're going to work really well and you're not going to have the fade that you would with a normal monotube shock like this. So these are the front shocks. You're also going to get the same kind of Fox shocks in the rear, which are going to be really nice. So people always ask, well, how are you getting the lift out of it? Well, how we actually get the lift out of your RV is we're running that bigger coil spring. So that bigger coil spring that you see right here, you can see just how much bigger this coil spring is one over the other, and that's how we're getting the actual lift out of the RV. All right, so we showed you how we lifted the front with those bigger coil springs. Now when it comes to lifting the back, we're using a set of leaf springs. You can see what your factory leaf springs look like right here. Very flat, not a lot of arc in them. So in your factory 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 springs in our factory one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're running 10 springs plus an overload. What the huge benefit in that is you can see that this material is slightly thinner than what your stock springs are. What that's going to do is help make your ride be a lot more progressive, a lot softer over smaller bumps and not as harsh. This overload spring also is going to help with the towing capacity of your RV, but not be engaged all the time, where these typically on the RV springs don't have the overloads. So another really nice feature about our rear leaf springs that make a big difference in overall ride quality, but also giving you the additional height that you're going to need in the rear to match the front. All right, so now we're gonna jump back to the front suspension, and sorry to jump around, but I wanted to show you the major components of how we're actually getting the lift out of your RV and controlling the ride with those awesome set of Fox shocks. Now another big part of this lift kit are going to be these extended radius arms that you see right here. So up on the top here, we have a stock radius arm. This is what's gonna come on most of your RVs. From 2008 into current. And then this is the new radius arm that we're doing. So if you're gonna notice, the first big difference is that these radius arms are going to be longer. The benefit in that longer radius arm is going to be that you will have less caster change as your wheel goes up and down, since the pivot point is longer. Additionally, we build caster into the radius arms to help you as well. And caster essentially is going to help your vehicle go straight down the road. So we definitely want a lot of that. And as you look to the back of this, you're going to see a set of radius arm brackets. All the brackets are included, as well as a new set of Moog bushings for your radius arms. Now the benefit in this bracket right here is that it allows you to slightly cheat your wheel forward in your wheel well if you want to. So if you're going to go to a bigger size tire, it's always easier to trim your front bumper or the plastic along the front rather than have to trim your fender or getting into your steps that are really nice to have on there when getting into your coach. We don't want to have to do that, so we cheat that wheel forward just a little bit in that wheel well to give you that additional clearance. So another really nice thing about the Weldtech Designs RV lift kit. So this is also what we do on our Baja Grocery Getter kits. So you can kind of use this if you're interested in a Baja Grocery Getter kit or an RV lift kit. However, all the components that we have right here are for the RVs. So last thing that we have on there that you guys ask about is I'm shuffling over here on my knees so I can stay down close to these parts, is you're gonna have your I-beams. So these are the I-beams. This is what your spindle is going to attach to, or your knuckle that's gonna go here on the end, and it's actually a spindle, not a knuckle. But that is gonna go on the end of that. And then this is the I-beam that you're gonna get with it, and you can see that we've modified this I-beam in order to accommodate the lift of the coil. Another thing that I wanna point out is on this one, this is a newer style one, so the bushings aren't that bad in here, but I want to let you know that with all of our I-beams, you get a new set of bushings in them as well. And the benefit in that is if you do have an older coach or you do have an older van, you're going to get new bushings in not only the I-beams, you're gonna get new bushings in the radius arms. So when we're talking preventative maintenance, that's a huge plus. You're kind of you're accomplishing two things at one time. You're doing the preventative maintenance, you're putting new bushings in it. That's gonna definitely help with the alignment and other things of that nature, along with getting the lift kit. So just be cautious. I know a lot of people always come to us afterwards and they're like, man, I just replaced all this stuff and it was, you know, $1,200. Well, heck, $1,200 is half the price of some of these, you know, of this lift kit. So just want you guys to keep that in mind. If there's something that I missed in this whole description of pieces and parts, blah, 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 please leave a comment below. I would love to answer any questions that you may have about this lift kit, or maybe even about some of our other lift kits, as well as if you would like me to make a video on something else, please comment below. I'd be happy to do that. My goal is to give you guys as much information as possible when it comes to these lift kits. And you know, really the biggest thing is I want to cover this too. People always say, well, oh, what a waste of money. I would never do that. Just go four-wheel drive. You got to have four-wheel drive. You know, most people don't need four-wheel drive with what they're doing in their RV. And I just want to say that at a cost difference of what you could do, this is about a quarter of the cost of doing a four-wheel drive conversion. So when we're talking about money-wise, that's a pretty big difference in what you could do as far as that cost goes as well. So just kind of want to throw that out there. There's a lot of benefits in just having more ground clearance, being able to run that bigger tire on there. And I will tell you, that's the other thing. Typically on these kits, we're running like a 235, 85, 16 tire in order to give you a little bit more additional height as well. So if you're curious about tire size, and I will try to put as much of this information also down below in the comments. So if I was talking too fast or missed something, I will definitely try to add it to the comment or to the info section down below. Man, I hope you guys have got, well, we're not done. I was gonna close this video out. Dude, we still gotta see the whole RV done. Man, you know, I'm losing my mind here. So enough on the parts. Let's go check out the RV. All right, guys, we're back outside and we're checking out this awesome, I forgot the name, the Freedom Elite that we just lifted. We put our 6-inch kit on this, and this is an RV kit. Well, what I want to show you is some of the important things, because I know if you have an RV and you're curious, well, my RV currently sits at this height and what's it going to sit at? So I want to go over some of those measurements with you. So just so you know, if you were to measure from the ground to the bottom of the wheel well, you're about 40¼ inches now with that new lift on there, and we were 35¼ so you know, we're coming up about 5 inches of true lift on there. Yep, 5 inches, so had to make sure to do my math twice, you know. So we're getting about 5 inches of true lift out of the front of this. You guys remember this thing was just hanging down on the ground, and so now we're about 12½ inches to where that sits, so we're getting a lot more clearance right there, which is really nice. And as we move to the back of this now, you're gonna see this wheel well, how much more space we have up in there. And so on the wheel well, we're right at about 36 inches of height. So that way you could compare, that's the word, compare it to your RV. I know the one other thing that we talked about on this was how low that this was all hanging right here. And so now we're at about 16.5 inches of height from all of this, which is going to give you a lot more room going into driveways or wherever you may want to go camping. So I'll go back over the front of it. I want to show you what all these parts look like installed, but I know one of the big things is you guys want to know heights and measurements of what your RV is going to sit at. So I'm hoping that this is going to help you guys out a lot. All right guys, so we showed you how cool those components look on the floor, but they don't look nearly as neat as they do once they're installed on your RV. So you can see we have these giant coils in there. We're going to have our Fox shocks here, and then we're going to also have those extended radius arms along with the brackets that you can see in there. We've also added our Fox steering stabilizer to the front of that, as well as right here you can see a little drop down bracket that we've also done in order to drop your sway bar all down so it retains your stock sway bar. I know that's very important. A lot of you guys asked that. So yes, it does also still retain the stock sway bar. We're just changing everything else out in the front to make this awesome. But so now the real test is the customer's here. We're gonna go take it for a drive, see what he thinks, and maybe to be continued. Let's see what else. And hey, while you're getting all this awesome information, please smash that subscribe button on there. Give this a thumbs up, because if you tell me that this video does not have information in it, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just don't know, because I'm just trying to put it all out there. I'm sure I've missed something, so if I have, comment below. But please give this video a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button. So, to be continued. I told you it was gonna be to be continued. You know what I go. And I love this. Check this out. The whole wall on this RV is coming out, which is gonna give it a ton of room inside, which I really like. So I know you guys love seeing the insides of these things. Let's go check it out. All right guys, I am inside this RV, and it is amazing. It's so short, but yet all the room I need. And when I come in here, my first thought is, this is awesome, but why would you do a Sprinter van over a small Class C like this? So please change my mind. Tell me why a Sprinter van is so much more, like in cost wise, but what is so much better about it? I'm just curious. I don't own a Sprinter van. I've had a Class C and I really like them. I've never had one this small, but I would really love to hear from you guys, like what you think and why you choose one over the other. There's not really a whole lot to show in this, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna have a big refrigerator. That is awesome. I mean, look at that bathroom. Like, are you gonna get that size of a bathroom in any Sprinter van? And that is definitely a no. So we have the bed here, which is awesome. This is a queen size bed. I'm gonna have a big TV in the back. Now when this whole wall slide comes in, this mattress is gonna fold up, so then that way it's more compact. So it definitely, you're not really gonna be sleeping back here as you're driving, because you're gonna have a bed half the size. So that could be a definitely downfall. However, if I really wanna go to sleep while we're on the road, while my significant other is driving, I'm gonna have a bed up on the top, which I could completely use. That's another queen size bed. I have a 40-inch TV up here, and if I'm not gonna be up here, I also have this, which is removable and can slide up, which makes getting into the driver passenger compartment cockpit area a lot easier. Okay, well, we still didn't even mention that we have a table here for 4 people that we could easily sit 4 adults at, that's also gonna transform into a bed. So technically this RV is gonna easily sleep 6 people, no problem. And I don't know any Sprinter vans that you can do that in. I will tell you another thing, at a price point at about $65,000, that is just awesome. I mean, that price point compared to what you can get in a Sprinter van is not gonna even touch it. I know most Sprinter vans are gonna be twice that. So I I'm asking, you know, I mean, I want the information just as much as you guys do, so I would love to hear what you guys think. I really like this. I think that this is awesome, and for a small family or just a couple, that this is going to be great. So I really dig the inside of this. Now we're gonna go take it for a drive and see what it's like. All right guys, I told you this video was not over, and it still isn't. I'm gonna keep going because I wanna give you guys so much information. You're on overload while you're hanging out at home watching just nothing but Weldtech designs. And I got Super Dave with me, who is the owner of this awesome RV. And actually it's Dave Super, but I like Super Dave way better. You know, that's just fun. So you got to drive it. Is this as good as you thought? Tell me, what do you think?
It's everything you said it was in the videos. Fantastic riding, 80 miles an hour down the highway, no shakes, shimmies. You hit bumps and it just glides right through them like they're not even there.
Because I told them to hit this bump, and I was like, go for it a little bit better. And after you did go through it, it was like,
oh, it was fantastic. I actually figured it was going to be a little bit rough, but it just went right through it smoothly. I would recommend Weldtech Designs. No doubt in my mind. I say you call them, you talk to them, you'll be happy. Everybody here has been great to work with. They were responsive, they take care of you. And I came all the way in from Nevada, and they were here making sure I got in and out as fast as possible. So
how much do I have to owe you to say this? I mean, this is good. This is good right here. You would think I was paying for this.
This is the truth.
I appreciate that, because I love telling people about this. That's our goal, is just to inform people, because a lot of people don't know that this is an option, and an option that isn't crazy expensive like four-wheel drive. And you yourself even said, I don't really need it, you know. And that's the big thing is, yeah, four-wheel drive might be neat, but at a $25,000 price tag compared to what you got, I mean, we're at a quarter of that, you know. So I mean, that's what's, you know, the savings there to me is great. But
no, it was a great price line, and because I just needed some more ground clearance for my boondocking, camping, and hunting trips I do, and this is going to do it. I recommend Weldtech Design 100%.
Dude, you heard it. See, it's not just me. I mean, I tell you it's cool, but I'm glad we get to hear it from other people. So really, that's going to be an end to this. He's headed back to Nevada. He's got a long road trip. I got to go back in and build something. So I hope this video was informative enough. I tried to put everything down there for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Smash that subscribe button, big thumbs up, comment below, and that's it. I will see you next time.